Well, good morning, the lot of you. How you doing this morning? Happy Sunday. And I would have been on a minute earlier, except I accidentally unplugged my power strip, and everything went off. And so I just went through a quick reboot. So are you rebooting from the week on your Sunday morning? Welcome. And everybody who's here now, I see Audrey is here. Audrey, good to see you. Don't get to see you as much as I'd like to these days. And so who else is there? Grumpy Stack is here. And Susie Q. And I saw Uncle Dave. There's Uncle Dave Potter. And who all's in here yet so far? There's Andrea. Good to see you, Andrea. All the way over there in Montana. And we still have that in the back of our mind. Montana. Could be interesting. What are the winters like there? Do they like the Dakotas? So I know you can't stay long, Audrey. I know you got stuff going on, but sure glad to see you here. It's nice to have you here. It's a cool morning here. It's been hot and humid all week. And now this morning I stepped outside. It's overcast and it's a little blowy outside and it's cool. So that's all right. It was a little cool for a t-shirt, but I didn't change in anything else. I didn't throw on a sweater. I'm not that old yet, but I do have a shawl. So Grumpy Stack is driving to Lake Charles soon to spend the day with his little girl. Will you have fun going to Lake Charles today? Yes, I have none unfond memories of Lake Charles. That's where we had the temporary studio away from the studio digs last year. Was it this time? Yeah, we were there this time last year. Sam and I were working down in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And so no offense to any Louisianaites, but Louisiana was not my favorite place to be. And probably the surroundings and the what was going on there, it just didn't work when we were down there. We were down there for 4 months. Just didn't work for us. So trying to make a living. Went down there on the promise of you could go home with about 60 grand in 3 to 4 months. And it wasn't the fault of the person who told me that. It's just the market was glutted. We were doing roofing after the hurricanes. And there were so many roofing companies down there. We got in a little late, and so it just didn't happen for us. So, no, yeah, it was a year and a half ago. Well, no, I was there from end of January last year to, oh, yeah, you're right. It was the beginning of May is when the first week in May is when Sam and I came home to Wisconsin. So, yeah, almost a year and a half ago. That's crazy how time flies. And so speaking of my sons, my son Sam and my son Flynn, if you're on my Facebook or my Instagram, you saw some great photos of those boys getting prepped for the Renaissance Festival next week. Sam called me about several days ago and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go out with my girlfriend and my couple of my buddies. Do you have a costume I could use?" And I said, "Of course I do." And he came in. That's what started the long quest for the missing boots. Well, Raini had apparently stuck them in a tub with her costumes, and that's where we found them yesterday. It was when I was going through all the tubs in the garage looking for. You ever do that? You're looking for something, and of course the old saying, "It was in the very last tub I found." I opened. Well, that could be the second tub. It could be the 35th tub, the very last one, because you found them. Well, I went through all 35, I think it's 34 tubs and boxes in the garage, and they're all stacked up like a library. And so I had to unstack everything. Could not find those boots. When I'd crack a lid and I'd see neatly folded Raini's costumes from the festival, her fabrics and stuff like that she made costumes with. And I thought, oh, they're not in here. If they're dirty, if the boots are dirty, and she thought they had a little mildew on them, on the small parts of them, that she wasn't going to put something mildewy in with her good costume fabric and her pristine costumes. Hey, Daniel, good to see you. Welcome. Happy Sunday morning. And so She found them in the first 10 minutes. Sam came over yesterday. We were going to tear that whole garage apart and absolutely unload everything out of tubs to look for those boots. And they're not small, they go up over the knee. So they're, about that long from foot to knee, and heavy leather. And you saw some of the pictures. Well, anyway, Sam was over yesterday. We got him all outfitted and got swords and sheaths and sword carriers, hangers on your belt for everybody. And then Flynn, he was looking at some of my costumes, enormous on him, but he could have taken some of the vest doublets and, folded them over, just put a sash or a belt around them. That's what we thought. And put on a pair of tights. And so he, as we're looking, we find an old doublet of Raini's that she had been given by one of her renters who was a costumer years and years ago, before I knew her. And a gorgeous doublet in velvet, dark blue and burgundy and nice trims and stuff like that. And it was made for a smaller person. Flynn put that on. It fit him perfectly. And I had a shirt, and it had the big baggy sleeves, which tie him up at the wrist like they did. They didn't have, you could have buttons of some kind, but usually ties on the wrist. And he looked absolutely fantastic. And he put on those black tights. There's Uncle Dave. Let's bring him in. How you doing, Uncle Dave?
Hey, how are you guys this morning?
Not so bad. I'm going to take the brand banner off so I can actually see you. There we go. All right. Having coffee.
I'm in the kitchens cleaning up after yesterday.
I see that. What lodge are you at?
I'm not at a lodge. I'm at a Boy Scout camp in Wyoming, Minnesota.
That's a little bit of a trek.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, though. It's about an hour plus.
The back porch, and I'll turn the camera this way. Behind me there, you can see my my motorhome.
There's the Uncle Dave on Wheels home.
And so, yeah, that's we got a bit of cleanup to do here today.
Sure.
Get the motorhome all packed up.
Yeah.
And I was going to go to there's a function happening at Kensington today. And Scott Walter was going to be there. And I was like,
how far is that from Wyoming?
Well, it's 2.5 hours. North.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours.
And folks, so when this the reference, the Kensington runestone was found there.
When this gig was booked, my brain said that we were outside Alexandria. And so I thought, well, they're going to be at Kensington. I'm going to be at Alexandria. I'll just drive over there on Sunday morning.
Hop, skip, and a jump.
Because I have the motorhome, and
right.
brothers will be there, and I'll open the bar, and we'll have a whiskey and sit and chat and talk about the runestone, and I'll get some photographs of where it was found. And because Scott and I have been talking, I want to do a painting documenting what he thinks happened when they set the runestone.
Sure.
And I said, well, I'd really like to get photographs. And he's like, oh, you should come up sometime with me, and I'll take you to exactly where it was. Because he says there's a marker saying this is where it was, but it's in the wrong field, he says. He's like,
nice.
He's like, it's across the road and up a hill from where they say it was found. I guess the people that own the land where it was found didn't want all these tourists traipsing through the
Well, you're going to get tourists to the fake spot. So
yeah, but they didn't want them on their land or whatever, I guess.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So anyhow, or maybe they did that intentionally so that if people said, oh, I found these artifacts right here where you said it was found, and they're like, yeah, it actually wasn't found there. So
Scott Walter is such a gracious man.
He is.
For those of you who don't know, he's local to the Twin Cities here. And back in, when did we first have him speak? Was it 2013? Yes, the 2013 Paradigm Symposium. And so I met with him. He said, let's go meet for breakfast on a Saturday. And so my wife and I, Rainey and I, went and met he and his wife for breakfast.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be just a a formal, hey, how you doing? Here's what we're going to do. We ended up sitting there talking for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And
That's easy to do with Scott.
yes, it is. And then, so he was at the 2013 symposium and then again in the 2015 symposium. And always very gracious.
Yeah.
I know he
I like
doesn't
him a
agree with
lot.
me politically, but that's okay. I don't care.
Yeah,
neither
I'm
does
the
he.
same way. I'm the same
Yeah.
way. But that's
All
not
right.
what we talk about most of the time. So
I just say, if you're on a different end of the political spectrum, we don't have to talk politics.
yeah,
So
we have so many other things in common. We don't even
Yep.
need to get into that field. Yeah.
that actually came to me through somebody else. I don't know who else it
Was it me?
It might have been you. Somebody had been talking to Scott and had mentioned me, and he goes, "Yeah, I like Scotty Roberts." He says he's got some kind of weird political notions, though, doesn't he? He's kind of out there because I'm conservative. And
Kind of out there.
this guy said, "Well, I don't know. He's all right," but that's never hindered his and my friendship. So, and it shouldn't. So, that's good. Would you pick up the 3-day-old coffee cup?
No, it's from yesterday morning. But I said, bring me a coffee, bring it black, and if you get hazelnut, that'd be great. They put hazelnut shots in it.
Nice.
So it's
So
not
it
the
wasn't.
same as
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just drinking my coffee. Oh, out of my Intrepid Radio mug. And you see that Intrepid Radio mug, folks?
That's
Intrepid
awesome.
Radio, Boldly Going. That was our original for the Intrepid magazine, Boldly Going, with that rocket ship. And then we started Intrepid Radio. If you want to get yourself a mug like this, you know what? This is turned into an advertisement, but down there you see the Etsy link in the scroll bar at the bottom, etsy.com/shop/son of a patriot. And by the way that name, if any of you've heard this before, but the way we got that name was Raini and I were trying to think of a name for our t-shirts and our mugs and stuff. This is before she was doing tumblers. And we're thinking of a name. She's sitting at her computer. I'm sitting at mine. I go, God, what can we call this thing? And I go, and after several tries at something didn't sound right, I went, son of a. And she goes, Patriot. Son of a patriot. Son of a patriot. And that's how we got the name. So now you can't forget it.
No, I'll never forget that.
I'll never forget that now. So, yeah. I still love my blonde daughter of a patriot shirt, says Audrey. I love it. Audrey, you got the V-neck, right, Audrey? I think it was you who requested, can you make these in V-necks? And I think you got one of the V-necks. So I did the daughter of a patriot. And that, I did it, I modeled it after Raini. Here, let me show you guys as I'm talking about it. And so I made it a brunette. And you know, I have my son of a patriot. He was kind of he's a cartoon comic book version of one of my ancestors, dressed in the blue, the blue colonial red coat, not red coat, the blue red coat. There you go. That's like saying, I'd like an orange Coke, please. He's dressed in the blue colonial army coat and holding his musket, and he's got his tricorn hat on. And so somebody said, why don't you have daughter of a patriot? And I said, you know, maybe we should do that. And here I'm trying to read and look for something while I'm talking.
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you. So I'm watching no, it wasn't the History Channel. It was one of the paranormal haunting shows on probably the Travel Channel or something, because they're just everywhere now. But anyways, they were talking about being out east, and there's out in I can't remember if they were in Williamsburg or New York but someplace where the British were bivouacked.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how these Brits came in and they took up residence in the colonials' homes and all this stuff.
Right.
And this one officer or sergeant or something, because they were sometimes referring to him as an officer and sometimes referring to him as a sergeant. So clearly they didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Clearly.
And it's really frustrates me when they can't get the facts straight. And anyways, this family had a young daughter, and it reminded him of his little sister or something, and he spent lots of time with her, and she died young of some, while they were bivouacked together, of some ailment. Okay. And he had prophetically said, if I die in this war, bury me with whatever her name was. Right.
Right.
And the family that they were bivouacked with were royalists. And so they were like, oh, we'll do that, and you were very kind to her and all this stuff. And so anyways, they're doing recreations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time they're showing this ghost that appears, we're pretty sure this is the sergeant, blah, blah, blah. And they just, and they're showing these recreations. Every time the recreation, the guy playing the ghost is wearing a blue coat. And I'm like, he's fucking British. He's having a red coat on. How hard is that to figure out? Right. If he's wearing a blue coat, and that's what they're saying the ghost is wearing, then he's not that guy, because he's a colonial.
That's not him.
What are you, morons? And that shit just burns me up when people can't get those simple. And they do it all the time on the History Channel, and I'm sure it's because hey, we've got this stock footage from the Rev War. We've
just
got this
the stock footage. Yeah.
They use Rev War footage when they're talking about the French and Indian War. Or they use French and Indian stuff when they're talking about they're wearing red coats and whatever.
You know what I like about some of the history shows on the History Channel is when they're talking about something that there's been a movie made about that topic. And like, for instance, they were talking about Caligula and the gladiatorial games. And what they used was all the sets and the costumes from Gladiator with Joaquin Phoenix as the emperor. It was the identical costume. So that I'm sure, because they're a television production company, they were able to go in and say, hey, we'd like to use these sets and use these costumes, which they did. And I've seen that in many other where you say, wait a minute, well, that's not from that movie, but it sure looks like it.
I am about to enter the Christopher Walken.
The Christopher Walken. I died laughing when you showed
that. But the first time I came here, I'm like,
Walken. Uh-oh, you're cutting out. Your refrigeration.
That's funny.
Installation is cutting you out.
Here's a better picture.
Let me show everybody. This is what Audrey was talking about. If you have not seen this, this is the Daughter of a Patriot shirt that I did. The illustration and I did it as a brunette. And this is Dave. You look at that. That's Raini. I did it as Raini. And I did this thing about, when did I do this illustration?
That's really nice.
Maybe 5 years ago. I did the original illustration 4 or 5 years ago. And so we put that on a t-shirt. And then Audrey came along and said, I like that. Do you have her in a blonde? And I said, here, watch. Why, yes, I do. Then I had somebody else want her as a redhead. So I did a redhead version.
Of course.
Yes. And so that was all a play off of the original, which I did not upload yet, the original Son of a Patriot shirt, which here, I'll show you this guy too. This is, let's see if I've got him here. There it is. And this is supposed to be William Robards, who was one of the grandsons of John Robards, one of my ancestors, and who, of course, had 5 of his grandsons fighting in the American Revolution in the colonial army.
Wasn't there an actor in the 50s or 60s, Jason Robards? Or
yes. Well, actually, he went all the way up into the 90s. I think he passed away, God, at least 10 or 15 years ago now.
But I mean, his heyday, when he was...
His heyday, yes.
When he was an A-lister.
Probably the 50s and the 60s, he was an A-lister.
Yeah.
He was in... The movie that comes to mind when I think of him right away is not the older movies, but he was in a movie with Steve Martin called Parenthood, and
yes,
all about parenting. And
yes,
he played
such a great
Steve
movie.
Martin's dad.
Yes,
And yeah, that was a good movie. So here I'm just loading.
I got to relive one of those scenes with Kaylee when she was little.
Oh yeah. Oh, do you feel like throwing up? Yes.
Yep, exactly.
That
Like,
I laughed.
that was not an invitation.
That was not an invite.
And I remember, and she's puked all over the couch, all over me, all over the floor.
Yep.
And so I get her cleaned up and tucked into bed, and I get my clothes changed, and I get all the covers off the couch and in the wash. And Amy comes home from work, takes a look at the living room. She goes, "What happened?" Oh, I said, "Kaylee got sick. She puked all over me." And before I could finish anything else, she goes, "Did you puke on my daughter?" No, because she knows I'm a sympathetic puker. And she's like, I'm like, no. I did not puke on Kaylee. I held it in.
Nice. So, by the way, here is the original. Here's Son of a Patriot, if you're looking at your screen.
Great shirt.
So that was the first drawing, and I did that for the logo for my site for Son of a Patriot. And so that's my ancestor right there, dressed in the gear or the colors.
Don't you think he was a little cartoony, your ancestor?
Yeah. He had a big square jaw and, little itty bitty thin legs.
So what you're saying is that's a representation.
It's a representation of my ancestor. Yes.
Okay.
So that's if you want any of those.
Thanks for advertising, bro.
Thank you. If you want any of those shirts, by the way, you can just go over to etsy.com/shop/son of a patriot, and you can find those.
And I know, Scott, if you want any design he's ever done, he'll put it on a damn shirt for you.
Hell yeah. And by the way,
Scott's going, they're going to pay me, right?
Yeah. You're paying me for that, right? Yeah, that's the way it's gotten. It's more my wife. It's like I have a lot of friends that will come to me and say, "Hey, can
like
you do
Uncle
this thing
Dave
for me?" Like you do. Nah, but you and I got a thing going. It's a back and forth thing. But
when I pull up Rainey's like, "What free thing are you after today?"
Oh yeah. Are you doing something free? What's he paying you? Well, he's that doesn't put food on the table. I know, but it's easy for me. It's easy. I can do it.
So I was chatting with Sean Holt last night.
Yeah.
We're
good old friend of ours, by the way.
Yeah, guys. Sharing a whiskey, and I said, well, and he was telling him how they met, and I said, I knew you and I knew KJ before you knew each other. He goes,
that's true.
Right. And then I said,
knew him when he was
and
dating.
I said, and you met at Scott's house, and I knew Scott and I knew Rainey before they met each other.
That's
and
right.
Like,
and we met at festival, but
yeah. And I said, so really, if I know the two people and they decide they want to get hitched, they're going to be happily ever after, and they should just take my word for it.
Matchmaker, make me a
match. Find me a pie. Catch me a catch. Yeah.
That's all I know of that song. So, by the way, for those of you, again, that's the Rainy, the brunette. There's the Audrey, the blonde. And, of course, we also have the Ginger. There she is, the redhead.
Yeah. I get in so much trouble with redhead.
I'm trying to think of who could be the redhead. I don't know
Linda.
many redheads anymore.
Linda. And she's got the curly hair.
Oh, yeah. Linda Schaefer.
Yeah.
Who fell off the planet. I haven't found her.
I'm sure she's still alive. I'm sure she's out there.
I know she's around. She must be involved with somebody very deeply, or she is just disconnected from everybody she used to know. I think it kind of started. I had that sword of hers that you saw. No, you weren't here yesterday. Sam was here yesterday. I have that sword and that hanger of her sword belt and hanger. And it ended up, she left it at my house like 10 before I was dating Rainey.
Yeah.
She left that sword at my house. And she contacted me about 6 years ago and said, hey, you remember that sword I left at your house? I go, yeah. And she said, is there any chance I could get that? Could we meet up? I said, sure, let's meet up. We set a date to meet. And then that morning, we had a bunch of crap hit the fan in other areas of life. And I called her and I said, I can't make it today. Can we reschedule? And I didn't get her on the phone. I got a voice message, and I have not heard from her since. She may have said something back to me, but I thought, is she angry with me because of that? And
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I always thought her and Lewis really were well matched.
They were a great couple.
They compartmentalized their lives.
Mm-hmm.
These are my friends from this area of my life. These are my friends from this, and they don't like to cross streams.
Right.
And so I think that she just, when she finished with festival, closed that door and said, okay.
Yep. Okay.
Walked away.
I got other things.
Yep.
I know other people. Hey, Steve Clark, welcome. So, and it's weird. I got a book from Raini that she got from Lewis. It was the big coffee table book of all the Hildebrandt paintings of Lord of the Rings prior to the movies being made.
Yeah,
obviously, and they actually Peter Jackson patterned a lot of his scenes off of those Hildebrandt paintings. So you look at them and you go, well, this was made from the movie, but the characters don't look that much like,
Yeah.
Because of that. Well, I'm flipping through that book a few years ago, and out drops a picture of Linda. About not quite a 3x5, but not the small wallet size. It was gorgeous. It was a portrait picture of her. And with that gorgeous curly flowing red hair and it drops out of the thing.
Absolute perfection.
And you know why that was there? Because Lewis, I think, was absolutely in love with her.
Yeah.
And they dated off and on. They never really officially dated.
Which was so Lewis-like.
So Lewis-like, yes. Lewis, if you're listening, that's a compliment. It's not a compliment, but it's not a criticism.
Yeah. I love Lewis. He's another brother. And
just so you all know, Lewis also hung with my wife for quite a while. He was her renter. And so they hung out a lot together. You can fill in the blanks. And she got a lot of costumes. A lot of her costumes and her fabrics and her tubs were months that Lewis couldn't pay rent. And she said, I'll take that doublet. And he'll go, sure, it's yours. That's the one Flynn's wearing in the pictures. Got that from Lewis. Lewis, by the way, to describe him, Lewis is a
younger, more handsome
like Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas, yes.
He's doesn't have an accent. He's totally American, and but his heritage is Latino.
Puerto Rican.
What's that?
Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. Because every Puerto Rican's a lousy chicken. Here come the Jets all the way from. Yeah, sorry, I lapsed into a little West Side Story, but
it happens.
But what's funny, Lewis is like he's about as close to a Latino or a Puerto Rican version of Errol Flynn you would ever want to see.
Oh yes,
and he was a master swordsman.
Yes.
Very athletic, tall and lean, not super tall, average height and lean and muscular and
6 foot.
He is now playing. He's been for years playing Robin Hood at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival, but he's the Latino Robin Hood, which is kind of funny. So you're playing Robin Hood? I asked. And he goes, yeah, man.
That's what I said.
He goes, I will be the first Latino Robin Hood. On guard. So
Robin Hood, is that on the border?
Yeah, it's right on the border.
Sherwood on the border?
Sherwood on the lake. But anyway, we're talking about Lewis without giving any reference point. He was a friend of
Oh, yeah.
ours for many years.
And my fight partner for many years.
His Dave's fight partner, and they made costumes together. While Dave
Well,
made
he was one of my apprentices.
One of you? Oh yeah.
And probably,
Lewis,
I would say, my most skilled, most gifted apprentice.
Yes. Well, Lewis was a master leather worker. He had all the leather
because he was
machines.
my apprentice.
There you go. But
he had never done that before. He had never done that before we started working together like that.
Dave is fantastically talented in the tailoring field. Lewis was like the apprentice has become the master, and with his leather work, and some of the stuff he did was absolutely out of this world. And so that's what he did. Dave made my boots, the missing boots that we found yesterday. Dave made those in the big long uppers, and then he handed them off to Lewis, and Lewis did I forget
embellishing.
Again, the embellishing. Yeah, it's where he'd slash the top and roll them over, and he'd put a little diamond-shaped stud around the tops of those, and did some slashing of stars and things like that. So it was pretty darn cool. But
yeah, they're beautiful boots.
They're beautiful. And
is your red garter attached to those boots?
Not attached. No, that's okay. What I had the garter going around the two boots to keep them together, and that's when I hung them on a hook.
Okay, I was wondering because I saw Sam wearing it and stuff, and I was like, oh, Sam's
that
wearing
red garter I was apparently up for, and you remember this. And segue here, and such a synchronicity. One year I was up at the festival. The actors have a thing, and we do it in public. The royals confer upon one of the actors out there, the entertainers, the Royal Garter. And Dave was a member of the Royal Garter, and it's a real thing in England. And they had the dark blue or purple. I can't remember which color it was supposed to be. But members of the garter, and you get this leather garter, and you'd wrap it around your boot, and that showed that you were a member of the garter people. And so I was up for it one year, and Dave, I'm not even going to ask you how you voted. I just know the same year, so was Lewis, and Lewis had been there a lot longer than I had been. And so there was a lot of, from what I heard, there was a lot of people on the committee to vote for that some wanted me in. Bye, Audrey. Good to see you. Love you too.
Bye, Audrey.
Hope you make it back often. So what I had heard was there were certain people like the King, John. He wanted me to get it. And then I don't know if Dave wanted Lewis or me, and I'm not going to ask him. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
I don't even remember.
But we were both friends. So of Dave's.
Well, and here's the deal. So we're voting on people who are long-term veterans of the show. So we're all friends with everybody we're voting on. Right. So it's you kind of take
who do I vote for and who do I vote down?
Yeah. And there's always the thing, okay, I'm not going to vote for you this year, but your name is in the list, so you'll be up next year or whatever.
Right. So I did not get it that year. Lewis got it, and it was an amazing ceremony. And
we throw the pomp on for that.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I've got pictures on my Facebook in one of my albums that has a whole slew of pictures of all of us standing there. I've got a picture of me standing with so many of the people who aren't out there anymore. Hey, Chuck Hendrickson, good to see you, brother, a fellow Royal Guard from years gone by out at the festival.
Hey, Chuck, how are you tonight?
So the next weekend, John Bear, who was playing the Royal Prince at the time, he's the king out there now, he came striding up to me with Royal Guard around him on the street. And he says, he calls me by my character name. And he says, take a knee, he says. And this is in front of the crowds. And so I dropped to the knee in front of His Royal Highness. And he pulls out that red garter, a leather garter, and it's got in gold embroidery. It says "In service to His Royal Majesty the Prince," and it's got a buckle on it, of course. And he conferred that on me because I didn't get the garter. He gave me this garter, which was "In service to the Prince," and so that's the red garter that's around my boots. Or my boot, and so I strapped that on my boot, and that was a fantastic moment. That was a great moment because see, when we did festival, and Dave can concur with me on this. Festival wasn't just a gig. We didn't just go, oh, I'm going to do this acting gig for 7 weekends out of the year. Festival became the place where you made family.
Yeah.
And for many years, that's what it was for me.
And I'm still bonded with those people.
Still bonded with those people. Very few of them that were my friends back then are not my friends now. I've lost touch with a few people, but some of them, and that's what it was. And festival was an emotional place for us. It wasn't just now. If I can say something. Doug Stack came into my Grumpy Stack came into my Facebook on pictures I put up of Sam, and he's wearing those boots. He says, "You found those boots?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And I said, "You do not understand how the depth of my happiness of being able to find those boots." Now, when they were lost, it wasn't just, "Oh, I lost a pair of boots. Damn it, I got to go get another pair." This pair of boots was a relic of my past, so to speak, and someplace where I was. And Chuck Hendrickson is here in the chat room. Chuck, you should call us up if you can. Call in.
Here's how people are identified by their boots. Okay.
Yeah.
When Sean Gaffney passed away of blessed memory, another dear brother of mine, when he passed away, his costumes were being sort of split up by the family throughout the different brothers and people in the community that we all did this. And his mom, I remember talking to his mom, and I said, "What are you going to do with his boots?" They didn't fit me, but I'm like, they were iconic boots. And she said, "I'm going to keep them on my fireplace hearth." And they're still there.
Wow. And that was over 15, 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
It was before I was dating Raini, so it has to be 18 to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was very sad. He was a man in the Army. He worked in intelligence. Just a superficial thing.
He had been a non-commissioned Army in the American Army, non-commissioned officer, and very high up, a colonel or a general came to him and said, "I want you to go to OCS. I want you to become an officer," and made all the arrangements. He had just been made a lieutenant, and he was coming with us to some big event. And this general called and said, "Hey, we're doing these war games, and I want you as one of my aides on my team." And he was like, "Oh, it's not because he was in the reserves at that point or something. He wasn't active duty anymore. It was after the first Gulf War. And he was a reserve officer."
So you're talking the late 90s now. So
yeah, and he's like, "I've got a whole bunch of stuff that weekend. I'm supposed to be out of town." And the general was gracious and said, "Oh, okay, well, if you can't make it, that's fine." No sooner had he hung up than a colonel calls him and said, "When a general asks you as a favor to do something, you say yes. Change your plans. You're going." And he's like, "Yes, sir."
Go.
And so
Brianna.
He was on that duty.
Yep.
And what happened is they'd finished up the war games. They'd done all this stuff. He and a roommate from where they barracked had gone out to the bars. His roommate was incredibly drunk, and Sean said, "Give me the keys. You're not driving." And this guy got adamant, and he's like, "Nope, I'm fucking driving. Can't take my keys." And Sean stepped in front of the car and said, you need to get out from behind. Just ran him over. He was so blottoed, he just ran him over.
And killed him.
Yeah.
And I remember when we all got that news. Now, Dave was much closer to Sean than I was. He'd known him for a long time. I met Sean through the reenacting we were doing with, it was a group called Clan Tartan, 1600s, and we were doing Scots fighting for Gustavus Adolphus in the 20 Years' War?
Yeah.
Why am I weak on
No, more than that.
No, it was the 20-Year War, wasn't it?
I'm sorry. I thought you said 20 years ago.
Yeah, the 20 Years' War.
30 Years' War.
What do you got there? Oh, that's your stuff for your thing. There's Chuck Hendrickson. There you go, baby. You should be able to get that now. Let's bring Chuck in. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. Chuck is who's Chuck? Well, come here and say hi, and you'll know who he is. Chuck is.
Chuck, how are you?
Morning, Dave.
This is Ellery. Oh, that sounded like that. I just had a Wrath of Khan flashback moment. She just looked at you and she goes, "I don't know you, but you, Uncle Dave, I never forget your face."
Good morning, Ellery.
So Chuck, by the way, it was Chuck's Royal Guard costume. That's when I first met Chuck. When I joined the Royal Guard, he was done with the Royal Guard, went to Safety Services, if I got the chronology right there.
You did.
And so I got Chuck's Reds. And they're still, I just saw them yesterday. I had them in my hand yesterday. And I held them up and I go, there. I said to my son, there's my Royal Guard Reds. And Beefeaters. Guys,
yeah, Beefeaters.
So I built those.
What's that?
I think is that the first set or the second set of Reds?
That was the first set was back in the days of.
I built the first.
Why
set.
am I slipping on his name? Because I haven't said it for ages. Don. When Don was with Royal Guard and they had the leather doublets.
I built those too.
You made those.
Yeah.
And then they moved up to the Reds.
Yeah, the red, and we had the black underneath. We had the
black doublet and the sleeves and the black trousers, and that's when I had my boots made. Was for that costume.
Yeah, and when I pitched that, they were like, "Oh, these wools, they're going to be so hot." And I said, "We'll do these black linen costumes on really hot days. You can take the red wools off."
Yep, and we just see you white sleeves. So
and then as soon as that was done, they got out there and they had so many compliments. Isn't this right, Chuck? So many compliments of you guys in red. They said, "Fuck it, it's 100 degrees, but we're wearing our reds."
We're wearing our reds. We always did. And then we got the neat embroidered patch with the Tudor rose and the crown that went right in the middle.
Yeah.
Of the chest. Many of us, and Bill Locken used to get mad at us. We slit the well, hey, look at that. Now that. Good morning.
Good morning.
I love that when my kids come and hug me. We put squeakers behind those.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm just looking at my shirt. We didn't have a lion, but it was like that. It was the crest right in the middle. And you'd hit that thing and it beep, beep.
And it would squeak.
And hey, woof, woof, Rudy Kessler, the dog. Good to see you, brother.
Morning, Rudy.
We were just talking old West stuff, and we were talking about Sean Gaffney, and it wasn't to get maudlin, but we all have people in our lives that have died, that have passed on. All of us at Festival, when we were younger out at Festival 20, 25 years ago, of course, you're in that mode where you think, you don't even think about anybody dying.
No, you're invincible.
When you go through it in your head, you think of all the people who have passed on that were people that we knew and loved on at the festival, because it's a huge community of people. And so I was just talking to everybody about, the love we had, because I had lost my boots, those boots that I had made, and I put a post up about it. And I was almost distraught over that. And I couldn't explain to people, Chuck, I'm going to tell you this, Dave and I were talking about this. It was very hard to explain to people that, why am I so messed up over a lost pair of boots? Well, it's not because it was just like my old work boots that wore out and I lost them.
No, that's different.
These were these represented relics from a very emotionally driven part of my past. Oh, look who we got coming in. Hold on. Hey, Harley. Hi, Harley. How are
Hi,
you,
Harley.
baby?
Good morning.
Are your mom and dad there? Boy, you look like your mom.
That's not my dad.
Did you say F, Mom? What did you say?
Gone. My dad's gone.
Oh, your dad's gone?
Oh.
Is mom there? Or are you just all by yourself?
He's in the bathroom.
Here's Rowan. Oh, dad's in the bathroom. Well, just bring the phone over to him. He'll want to talk to us from the bathroom. Here we go. Here we go. Tell Dad it's Scotty. Hang on, folks. This could be fun. See, there's Dad. Hey, Brianna.
Hi.
Hi.
I said,
Good
where's
morning.
Dad? Dad's in the bathroom. I said, oh, bring him the phone. How are you doing, Brianna?
Good, just waiting for them to get picked up.
Ah, who's picking them up? Grandma?
Grandma, yeah.
Right on.
Bree,
What's up?
have to come over soon.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
come and see the new place. So, John's been here a couple of times. So,
Yeah.
Mom, cover my hair.
Okay. We're playing with kinetic sand.
Kinetic Satan?
Sand.
Sand. I thought, oh, is this a new game that's out? Al from Mattel. Kinetic Satan.
Whambo.
I pulled up the show and Harley kept yelling, "Hi, Scotty! Hi, Scotty!"
Hi, Harley. For those of you who don't know, John and Bree are our old next door neighbors. So,
And great people.
great peoples.
The coin.
So, well, if you're going to be kidless today, you guys should stop by, unless you've already got plans for being kidless for the day.
I have to clean because they're finally coming to replace our patio door on Tuesday.
Nice. About time.
Fun. Yeah, they were supposed to do it in the spring.
Oh, yeah. For the summer, so you could have your door open.
Yeah.
I think Chuck is the only one among us right now that owns his own house. So, we're
Hey,
getting
I
rented
just showed you
with-
my own house is parked right out here.
Oh yeah. You're Ruben Fasthorse when he had his big RV and they'd travel around doing shows. He called it the Res on Wheels.
There it is.
There's Dave's. There's Dave's house.
Very nice.
So,
Mom,
Scotty, you never called me to help you move.
I didn't want to abuse my friends. I abused John and Bree last time we moved. And there was no way I wanted to do that again. And so
Okay. I didn't want to abuse my friends. Call John and see if he can get the
Oh,
big,
John.
huge treadmill moved.
Yeah. Well, I housed it this way. I said, John, how would you like to make $100? And he goes, yeah. What do I got to do? And I'm like, oh, no. I'd give you a lot more for that. But, well, he was going to sell Brianna to me for a weekend. No. So I said, will you come over and help me move that huge.
You need another woman over there telling what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's what I don't need. I need that like I need a hole in the head. Yeah, Brianna would get here if I purchased her for the weekend. And I go, hey, could you like fold the sheets and stuff and wash the dishes?
What are your hands broken?
Yeah, they are, as a matter of fact. So, hey, John.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey,
You know how
John.
that came about? We were talking to Harley, and where's your dad? He's in the bathroom. And we said,
Yeah.
oh, bring him the phone right now. Let's see. How am I call? Here, Rudy. Right here. You click on that link right there. Rudy's going to call in too. So, so John came in to help me move that big ass machine. He took it apart. It's my show. I can use my language.
Dad.
Yeah.
Next time I have to move that thing, I just remembered I'm out of town.
I'm out of town whenever that is. Well, I was going to hire movers to do it, and I actually talked to a moving company,
They won't work for beer.
and I was going to pay them, and
No,
I
but they'll
misscheduled them. I had them for 10:30 in the morning, and they showed up at 8:30. They said, "No, man, we scheduled it for 8:30." I said, "No, I got a 10:30 in my calendar." And sure enough, I checked back, and it was 8:30, and so I missed them, and I couldn't get them back. And that was like the last day before we were out of the house. And so I called John pleading. I said, "John, I got a budget." So he goes, "Yeah, I'll come." And he goes, "You didn't need the money." "I don't need the money." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. I can use that, and I'll take Raini." He goes, "No. Well, the money's good.
I don't need it. I'll take it, but I don't need it.
I'll take it."
I don't think that's how that conversation went, but okay.
It was something like that. I don't remember it being that way. So, well, it's good to see you two.
Inside the residence.
What are you doing over there? So, anyway, yeah, yada, yada, yada.
We still got to come over so Bree can see the new place.
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
that
that's
already.
what I was just saying to Bree. You guys, you got to get over here. Rowan just asked her, "When are you coming over?
You know,
Bring the girls."
Honestly, I have probably been in that house before you guys moved in.
You've probably
that was-
been in this one before?
That was my other old neighborhood.
Right. So, yeah, Bree's been everywhere. Rainey and I have lived. She's been, I was there before.
Stop.
I've been at that place. I've seen it.
The cat's snuggling around to me.
So you haven't seen the inside, though. Now, the inside here, you see the bare walls behind me. This is what Dave is going to come out and help me. Hey, Chuck, if you want to, do you know how to paint? No, here's what we're going to do. We're taking the downstairs, and we're going to paint the floors with a really durable floor, glossy. Hopefully, I'd like to do it in this really deep red and throw the black speckles in it. And with the gloss coat, and he doesn't like to be held. You're gonna get scratched. So we're gonna do the floors. I want to spray the ceilings and do them black, flat black. And the reason I'm thinking like theatrical settings. If you're ever in a theater, you notice their ceilings are all black, even over the audience and these smaller theaters, and they hang the lights and so on. But then the walls, we're going to do in kind of an off-white. And Dave and I are going to maybe do like we did in Rainey's and my first house together back in 2005, 6. We did the basement, and we covered up the old paneling, wood paneling, with we made it look like it was plastered walls, and we put up big beams, 6x6 beams that we had stained dark mahogany every 4 feet, and then some uprights at an angle and across the ceiling. We made it look like an old 16th century English pub. So we're going to do that down, at least in the main room down here, which is 28 feet that way and about 26 feet this way. So it's a nice one. Anyway, your phone won't let you, Rudy? I don't know why. Sometimes they're wonky that way. Between phone and computer. Oh, there he is. Let's bring in Rudy.
There we go. I think I got
Rudy
it to work.
the dog.
How y'all doing, man?
Good.
Doing great. Good to see you, brother.
Good morning, dog.
Okay, you work.
Morning,
Love you.
all of you. I miss all of you.
I missed you too, brother. Rudy used to sit at the gate, Horse's Gate, was it?
Horse Gate, where Joel used to sit.
That's right. And so I would see him from time to time. I'd come in and out of Horse Gate. But Rudy was also part of the 42nd Royal Highlanders with us, the red-coated group that we do with Dave and I and some others. And so I saw him quite a bit there. And not to point out a what would be considered a deficiency by somebody. He's got one hand that Rudy doesn't have a thumb on one hand, but he became our standard bearer. And I thought, how are you going to manage that? And Rudy was just like dude, I've lived my whole life like this. I got it.
Yep.
And so he carried our flag into battle. And that was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Who's next to the track? Is that
James
Bree?
gave me that officer's outfit for Jensen.
Yes. Who's got the train coming by? You, Rudy?
That's me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
you.
I'm down here in Texas.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the TRF Renaissance.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I know that train.
That's the train. That's the TRF train.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it is. Renaissance festivals always build their sites right next to a train track. But
Yes, they do.
that TRF train hit one of our beer trucks coming in, and there were cases of beer everywhere. And Rennies,
I can imagine the
all those
crowd.
Rennies were out there scavenging beer out of the ditch.
Harley. That's Bree. That's what I want to do to my daughters when they come on air. It's just cover them out.
All right. What do you have to
Here, let me show her. Let me show her how we do. I'll show her how we do. Harley. Harley, you're too darn cute. That's why you get away with stuff. Or try to get away with stuff.
Yeah,
say bye.
that's my excuse for Rowan too. She's pretty much got me wrapped around her little finger. So
Yeah. Well, she's getting bigger and older now, so
Will you take me to Chinese then?
sure.
And getting that wrapped around the finger a little tighter too.
Yeah.
What was that, Bree?
She won't stop blowing up my phone.
Nice. Well, Rowan won't stop asking for money and to be taken out to Chinese. So,
No, I need a phone, Dad.
oh, she needs a phone. Uncle Dave, will you buy her a phone?
Again?
It's only $99.
Only.
What was the one, Rowan? What was the one you called and asked for 25 grand, or what was it you asked? I was like, what?
I asked for like $2,000.
a pittance, a mere pittance
Right?
for aristocrats like Dave. So
There's a reason I'm divorced, you know, Rowan. It's because I wouldn't give her $2,000.
there it is. Well, my kids will always do stuff like, "Oh, Dad," like her especially, you especially. I'm talking about you, and you're in the room. I'm gonna mess up your hair.
All right, I gotta go.
Bye,
Bree,
Bree.
it's so good to see you.
Bye.
I love you.
We'll
I love John. I love your kids. So come on over when you get a chance.
Okay. We'll
We're
call
always
you later.
here. See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
There's your window. Oh,
She's
I
gone.
almost-
She took herself out.
There you go. She took herself out. So the kids will always come to me, and this one especially. Dad, I saw this thing, and I need it. And like, what did you see? And it ranges from there you go. Look at Chuck. It ranges from, $4 for a pair of earrings, cheap earrings on Sheen or something like that, to $2,500 phone. I'm thinking, I don't think so. Not today.
Mine from her was, I have this whole list of stuff in Amazon that I have in my cart. Don't put it in your cart. Put it on your wish list. What's that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to explain to you wish list. Then your aunts and uncles can look at your wish list and figure out what you want for your birthdays and Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to take a while.
My kids were just getting them. Well, this was, I don't think it was in the last year. Somebody had charged like over $100 on some game,
Ellery.
online game.
Yeah, the 7-year-old.
Yeah, I want more coins. Bink. Yeah, I need more. Bink. Yeah, I need more. Bink. And like I had this whole series of like 30 charges at $3.95 each, and I'm like, somebody is. And of course, we disputed it, and of course, we couldn't get the money back.
I mean, I did that too, but that was Robux, and it was only 99 cents. But it was like 17 of them, but it didn't matter.
There was only 17 of them in a row. That was only $17. So we have locked down purchases.
No, you didn't. I still
So.
got your credit card number.
You got the old
That's-
credit card.
That's
number.
like that old Happy Days episode. No, officer, I haven't been drinking. I just had one of those little tiny glasses. Well, how many of those? 15?
15 of those little tiny glasses. Exactly.
Just one drink.
Just one drink. There it is. And by the way, if you too want an Intrepid Radio mug, you can go to my Etsy page. We can actually make these in-house now.
Nice.
So, anyway.
So, Scotty, do you need a big dog?
What kind of dog?
He
Giant
is
schnauzer.
a giant schnauzer.
I used to own giant schnauzers. We used to train
really?
giant schnauzers.
He is.
Drake, sit up. Come on, Drake, up.
Let's see them.
Drake.
We trained our giant schnauzers. They herded our horses.
Oh, where is he?
Drake,
Oh,
why
look
did you
at that.
stand there below me? Well, now I
What are
got
the
that
specs
first.
on your dog? I mean, how old is he?
You have a dog that wears spectacles?
Yeah.
I believe
He should.
I think he's cute.
He's 2 years old. He's 100 pounds.
He eats everything.
He's a giant.
Has he got shots and is he fixed?
He is.
Did you
Was he
want money
broken?
for him?
He's a big old.
Did you want
teddy
money
bear.
for him, or you just want to find a new home for him?
We're fostering him, so it's through a foster.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's an adoption thing. I think he's $6.95 is what.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
want.
He's 100 pounds.
We paid like $1,200 for our giant schnauzer years
Yeah.
ago. This is before I was married to Rainey.
They're not
So-
cheap, but he is an awesome dog. He's too big for our.
They're awesome. I would gladly take them on. I don't have $700 right now to buy a dog, but I would gladly take on a giant schnauzer.
He's pretty. He's got a heck of a bark on him, man. We don't have to lock the doors or nothing. No one's coming
Nice.
near this house.
My giant schnauzer, they use those for Schützen training,
There you go.
German police dogs. And I would train my dog when we lived in the city. This is back during when I was first at Fest in the early to mid 90s. And we had that big, we had a big giant schnauzer, our giant schnauzer, Bo. And I would walk him. I had him so trained, I could take him off his leash. I could walk down the suburban St. Paul's sidewalks and into the busier sections. And that dog, I wouldn't even have to say anything if I would stop. He'd stop and he'd sit. Hand signals. I'd just do one of these on my left, and he would heel. And he was so smart and so well trained. He never ran, ever. Never attacked anybody, ever.
Yeah, well now the dog we have.
And so we were in the city, and we lived in the city, and then that's when Annette and I originally bought the ranch. We went out there, and the first month we were there, we lived on a country road. Somebody out in the country ran him over and killed him.
Oh,
So, but he never got in trouble in the city because he went out just wandering one day. He wasn't disobedient. He was just out. We let him out. We had 40 acres, and we let him out, and he just disappeared one day. And he was just right down the road. Somebody ran him over.
yeah, he's a great dog. He's
Yeah.
fully trained.
Roger Rabbit says, "Used dog for sale, low miles."
Do it. He's,
Oh, I would take a giant schnauzer in a heartbeat.
He's pretty
So-
awesome.
He acts like he's like the standard or a mini size schnauzer, but he's actually a giant one. He
Yep.
tries to be a lap dog.
Yes.
He
So did
loves
Bo.
to sleep. He
Oh yeah,
loves to
every
sleep with my
night he
daughter.
sleeps with me every night, and my dog is starting to get really mad at him because he takes up my whole bed other than me, and she doesn't have any room to sleep with me.
Nice.
So now they've been fighting over who gets to sleep with me every night.
Yeah.
And dogs are big. Bo was a giant schnauzer. He came up, his head would come up to just the bottom of my rib cage. And so he was a big dog. And we had him with I see this one, he doesn't have his ears cropped. Or does he?
No, they're just really floppy.
Yeah, Bo had his ears cropped very young. And so he had the pointy ears and all of that. He looked pretty good.
Got the giant eyebrows, looks like Groucho
Yep.
Marx.
Giant eyebrows and the schnauzer goatee.
Yeah, he's growing
So-
that out now.
So, Rudy, other than yourself, do you have any dogs?
I used to have a Lab Shepherd Husky.
Lab Shepherd Husky. Wow.
Yeah, she was 120 pounds, but she
That was one crazy menage a trois.
beautiful
So-
dog. But she didn't like traveling with us, and then she had hip problems, and she couldn't even get up into the truck. So, well,
The
5
hip
years ago, we had to
dysplasia?
put her down.
Yeah, that's sad.
What
And the sad
happened?
thing about some of these big dogs, they have shorter lifespans.
Yeah.
So, like, I think a giant schnauzer, I think the lifespan, the average is 8 years. Whereas you get a Chihuahua and the thing will live till it's 38, and you're like, is that thing ever going to die? You know, so of
Yeah,
course,
we got it
Chihuahuas,
for 11 years.
11 years, nice. That's pretty good. Chihuahuas are a delicacy, by the way, in Bolivia. You know, you serve them up. It's like, hey, cool. So I've never had Chihuahua that way, but we once at the ranch, we had Chihuahuas. We had 2 Chihuahuas we started with. We ended up with 15.
Oh, geez.
And we were just giving them away. We had that litter. We go, hey, and when will they be ready? 2 weeks. You know, let their eyes open. You can take it home. So, yeah, that was crazy. We built a big outdoor kennel and run for them when we got all of those. So that was crazy. But
Gentlemen, I need to bow out. I got to go make breakfast.
Chuck, it's so good to see you. Thanks for calling in. It wasn't a hot topic, but I was just wanted to get your take on some of the festival stuff. And
See you later, Chuck.
See you, Rudy. See you, Dave.
Bye.
see you, Charles and son.
See you later.
See you later. Have a good day. So that was nice to see Chuck. And we've got Rudy and I and Dave, we've got a mutual friend out at Fest. You'll know who I'm talking about almost right away. 6'6". Used to play a Lansknecht out there, and he worked for the Arms and Armor. And he has had some troubles in the last few years, and he's had some joint problems and surgeries and stuff like that. And he just turned 60. God, it's hard to say that when my friends are all getting old.
I know. I hear you. I was looking at a guy the other day. It's like, man, that guy's old. Wait a minute. I went to high school with that fucker.
Yeah. I see a lot of people from my high school are on my Facebook. And I went to a small private school. We had 27 graduates for our senior year. I did. And so I see a few of them from time and time, or just pictures. And I'm like, wow, they all look really old. Whoa, she looks like a grandma. And then I think, oh, wait a minute. I wonder what they're saying about me. So, you know, it's like, yeah, we're all getting older. But
Well, you're not a grandpa yet.
I'm not a grandpa yet. No. Everybody thinks these are my grandkids. When we go out, oh, is this your grandpa taking you out on a date?
Yeah, they say that about my daughter who's 15, that I'm her grandpa. I'm like, no, I'm dad.
Well, somebody just the other day, 2 women in our neighborhood walked by yesterday when the boys were trying on the costumes. And they were outside and they were taking some pictures. And these 2 women walked by walking dogs. They were talking to Rainey out at the end of the driveway. And I walked over and I said, hey, you know, we're talking and showing off the costumes. And one of them said something, I don't know exactly what she said to Rainey, but she goes, I overheard just barely her whispering. She going, that's your dad? And Rainey said, like, no, that's my husband. And I'm like, that always makes me feel so good. No, that's my wife. Yes, I'm still virile.
It's just you're really
Kind
old,
of,
so they think you're
on good days. What?
It's just you're really old, so they think you're like you don't have any kids.
Yeah, that's the way I think about you. You're really young, so you don't think straight yet. So, yeah, we all have our stereotypes, don't we?
At least
Oh.
I'm old and wrinkly.
At least I'm not young and dumb. Oh, that was just too personal, wasn't it, that one?
You're dumb.
I
You
love
gotta
you.
mess up my hair.
Yeah, I'm trying. So, yeah, look at us all. We're all white-bearded. I started growing out my beard again. It's just starting.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
So, see ya.
I keep getting Envirotech stuck in mine, so I have to shave it off and regrow it.
Right there. Take that and throw it in the garbage, please. Yeah. So, what were you saying about beards, Rudy?
I
Shaving
keep
it off?
Envirotech, the stuff I coat my mugs with.
Yeah.
I can't get that stuff out, so I
You
got to
gotta
cut it
shave
all
it.
off and
Yeah,
throw
you
it.
gotta cut it, clip it out. I've never had a long beard. I've had it full, but I keep it trim. And every now and then I would. This is a few years ago now. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. Was the last I did this, but 4 years ago. And I thought I was out working in Utah, roofing, and I had the white beard and pretty much like it looks now, just a little fuller. And some little girl came to the door and she goes, "Are you Santa?" And and she told me later, because you have a red nose and I got this rosacea on my nose. I don't know why, but I can't get rid of it. Whiskey.
I love Dave's.
I said to my doc. I said, "I'm not a heavy drinker. Where's this coming from?" He goes, "That just happens sometimes." I'm like, "That's just great." So after that, I shaved my beard down. I did the little Errol Flynn mustache and little goatee, and then I dyed it all back to my kind of sandy brown,
black.
sandy blonde, jet black. And
No, I don't dye my hair.
I don't dye my hair. Brianna wanted to. She said, "I'll dye your hair. I'll do it black." I'm not doing black hair. But what happened was, is I would dye my facial hair, and that stuff grows so fast, it's turning half gray in a week anyway. But I just started looking like an old guy trying to color his hair, and I said, "Okay, I'm done." And so now I'm white, and for what's left. And I'll grow the white beard. I wouldn't mind having a Zeus beard, But
Yeah, white stands for wisdom.
there it is. So they say. I'm smart, SMRT. So I don't know. I'll keep the beard for a while.
I like Dave's long beard.
Yeah.
I had mine that long, but like I said, I got Biotech stuck in it. Now I'm growing it back. Hopefully, I can get it back that long again.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is wear a red flannel shirt around Christmas time.
Yep.
And I go down to Target, Walmart, and hang around the toy aisle, and inevitably some kid's going to have a meltdown. And I step around the aisle and glare at him, pull out a little notepad and a pencil and start scratching out lines. Like I'm crossing them off the list.
It all works really well until Dave goes, "Hey, little kid, you want some toys?" And Mom goes, "Go away from the Santa."
No, what Mom usually does, because the kid instantly stops the meltdown and gets that terrified look in his face, like I'm never going to see a Christmas present again. And Mom looks over and kind of smiles and goes, "See, you never know.
See, you never know. He's always watching." So if you know that reference, you have kids. I'm always watching, Wazowski. Always watching. So, Rainey said I should do a Santa Claus, and I said, "Well, I don't want to get big. I mean, I'm fat enough, but I don't want to get big." And she said, "You don't have to be big to play Santa." And but I want a cool outfit. I would never wear the fake costume shop Santa. I want to do the cool Santa.
Let's do the Kurt Russell Santa for you.
The Kurt Russell Santa. I do
Santa
that.
on vacation.
Santa on vacation. That's right.
Well, my phone's about to die here, so I got to cut out.
You get out of here, dog. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for calling in. We'll see you later.
Good seeing you.
All right, guys. As everybody knows, by the way, Sunday morning is informal. If you haven't figured that out yet. So I notice we've gone from active participants in the chat room have gone from 18 down to 9 somewhere over the last half an hour. So I think we're losing. It's the captain. Arr. All right. You got to get your laugh down. So, well, there you go. That's kind of nice.
A sheriff's hat.
Yep. I didn't like hats, so I didn't wear them as often. It was so
I love hats. I'm missing a hat. It's the same way you feel about your boots. My Greek fisherman's cap.
Oh, I remember that.
No idea where it is. It disappeared last fall. And I remember the day that I stopped wearing it and started wearing this one because it was turning cold and I wanted ear cover, and no idea. I tore apart the old motorhome. It wasn't in there. I tore apart my room at home. It's not in there. I tore apart the storage at the lodge where I have all my workshop. Not in there. No idea. Took it off, changed hats. Can't find it.
The upside, I never liked the Greek fisherman's captain's hat on you. It seemed out of place for you, even though you liked it. I like different hats on you. I would love to see you in you need a good wide brimmed fedora.
I have one from the 1940s.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a mink one. It's really nice. It's like
Very
5X.
nice.
You know how they on mink hats you get a different X for like
Yes.
3X, 4X for the quality of the fur. Mine's a 5X.
Wow.
Yeah.
They and all the hats that are good hats made by hat ears are made out of some kind of animal pelt. You don't realize it. Like my my gray hat, my standard hat. It's the Penman Casablanca because it's a replica of Humphrey Bogart's hat from that movie, and it's made out of rabbit pelt. I got a couple other hats from him that are made out of beaver. Beaver is the better pelt for hats. Yeah, beaver. I got a beaver in my head. And so those are some of the best hats out there. As for John Penman hats, he disappeared.
What's up with that?
Year ago or so, nobody knows whatever happened to him.
Did we lose him to COVID?
We don't know. The last I heard, he was hopping in an RV like you. He had a new girlfriend that they got very tight. And they were
about 10 minutes
traveling.
away.
They were traveling, and you can still order Penman hats, I believe. At least his website's still up. Somebody's sending out hats, but they could be sending out, what was already made. They had some stock on them. But he may be,
who knows? He may have a shop set. I've got my industrial machine set up in my motorhome and everything. And so maybe he's traveling the world, making hats, shipping them back to whoever runs his business. And
well, that's what I wondered. But John used to call me all the time. We used to talk. He'd go, "Oh, I'm just sitting here, pressing out some brims or something like that."
Yeah, that's before he had a young squeeze.
Bullshit. And now it's like, in the last year, I haven't heard a word from nobody. I see posts on his wall. Whatever happened to John? Where's John? Does anybody know? Is he alive? Is he dead? There's no answers to any of that ever from anybody that knows him. He either said, I'm dropping off the grid, or there's no obituary for him anywhere. I checked just to see, is he gone? What happened to him? And his phone is disconnected. I found his shop by his address in Google Earth, but I don't know if his shop is still in that. It's like a little strip mall where you'd walk in to get to his shop. I don't know if he's still there or not. It's still listed as his address. But no John Penman. So I have no idea what's going on with John. And John, if you're out there and you hear this, give me a call. But that's a little disheartening. So anyway, don't know what happened. So he disappeared, and really, if he's still around, he disappeared and just cut all ties. So who knows? Or you can speculate and say, is this woman he met murdered him and he's buried in the woods somewhere? I don't know. I think your sound's down, Dave. Oh,
I said, let's not think that. We don't want to.
No. I'm not seriously thinking that. So, well, it's 10:20, and we didn't have a
topic. I've got a
time.
We were supposed to be out of here by 11, and I've got to start hustling and moving stuff, and it's hard to do that on the phone. So.
And I hear Rainey upstairs yelling at the kids. So.
Awesome. Go give those girls a hug for me. Give Flynn a hug, and see Sam.
Flynn was actually up early today. So I was outside and I was
strutting around in tights, is he?
Not the tights today, but he's got a pair that goes with the doublet.
The velvet ones?
Yeah, gorgeous tights, but he won't wear them because it's got a cod piece.
What's
He
wrong
wouldn't
with
even
that?
Try them on because he was bashful about it. It's a
You know
little
what?
cod
He's-
piece. It's not just a triangular cod piece. It sticks out a little bit. Not,
Oh, yeah.
not big. It's not
Supposed to.
ostentatious. It's just fitted. And he's like, I'm not wearing that. I'm not putting it
Seriously, Sam is gonna have to beat women off with a stick to keep him off of Flynn. No, he's 13. Get away. He's my
Yeah. Man, does he ever look good in that costume. And he put on,
Very dashing.
because he didn't have tights, Rainey gave him one of her, she's got all these black, she sold for a company once that sold these things with these black, really, you could say expensive, for lack of a better way to describe them, black tights, things like that, workout pants. And she gave him a pair of those. She said, put this on. And he put that on, and he didn't have boots. We didn't have boots for Flynn. So we went to the thrift store, and for 50 cents, got him a pair. They're women's. We go, but they're women's boots. I said, look at him, Flynn. It doesn't matter. And that's what he's wearing in the pictures. So they're women's winter boots, but they are perfect.
Yeah.
Sam's first pair of boots when he was a kid were women's boots, girls' boots.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
So,
Boots are boots.
yeah.
Especially
And,
wearing spiked heels. You know.
Yeah, spiked heels are they're ostentatiously styled for females.
Spiked heels were a thing in France in the 1600s. You're fine.
These are just plain boots with a zipper up the back. And he put those on. If you look at the pictures over on my Facebook, you'll see they're just
I've seen them.
fantastic.
They're great.
And here, as long as we're in here, I want to show you guys. This is, let me open it up here. And I can only show off pictures that are PDFs. So everything I've got has got to be, here, let me find this one of Flynn. It's just an amazing picture of him. Let me open this up. I'm going to resave this as a PDF so you can see this. This is Flynn. Now remember, Flynn just turned 13. So he's just freshly off of 12. And
hey, look who just walked in.
Who just walked in? I'm not in my screen. Hang on a second. Let me get there. Hey, Sean.
Hey, brother. How you doing?
How you doing? Good to see you, man.
Doing great.
So you having a good time this weekend over there?
Yeah. We were down. We had our Viking encampment set up, and we did some combat demos, and yeah, it was a great time.
Fantastic. This is what Dave was talking about, you being there. Folks,
Yeah.
it's another longtime friend of mine. I think I've known you for almost 20 years.
Yeah, about that.
You were, now that you're happily married to another old friend of mine, KJ.
Yep.
She was my former roommate. She was rooming with, we were not romantically involved, not that kind of roommate. She was renting the downstairs fireplace room from me. And you were dating Amanda at the time when I first met you and got to know you. And so you guys have been married for what, 15 years now? You and KJ, something like that?
12. No,
12
this year's 10. Man, I can count. COVID. Thank you.
There you
COVID.
go. There you go. Well, and that's the thing. We've got the passage of time is just kind of crazy. And how much has gone under the table, water under the bridge. And so Sean used to come over all the time for scotch and cookies and hang out and stuff. So if I remember correctly, I think you were there for quite a bit of them. And we hung out at Fest and stuff like that. So, man, it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. I got to go finish packing up, but it's great to talk to you. We'll have to catch up sometime.
Good to talk to you, brother. I love you. Say hey to
Love you
KJ
too.
for me.
All right, we'll do, man.
All right, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I got to fly. Hey.
Okay, here,
Yeah.
I'm just going to put this one picture up. Look at this. There is Flynn, folks.
Oh,
from
yeah.
yesterday.
He looks like a girl in those tights.
No, he does not look like a girl in those tights. He looks like a man in those tights.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
That's what's cool. And you don't see the boots here.
Dashing.
All right, Dave. We'll
All
see
right.
you later, brother.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. See you this week sometime.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon. So Dave is going to come over and help paint in the basement here. So
Be all black.
just the ceiling. Just the ceiling. The walls are going to be cream colored and the floor red. So a deep, deep red, like the poles over there.
Blood red.
So there's Flynn right there yesterday. And with one of my old swords. And what do you need my phone for? To watch videos? You don't need to watch videos.
To do TikToks and play Roblox? Charge it.
For a little bit. Plug it into a charger when you do that.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. So there you go. That's Flynn. And what a great picture of him. I looked at that picture. That's just taken on my phone. And look at the detail. I mean, look over here in his cuffs. And I don't think you can see my mouse here. But right around the cuff, the ripples coming out of the folds coming out of his cuff. The detail on the sword and on some of the trim on this doublet, how much tight detail that picked up. And then I've got I'll show you this one last one for today. We've got Sam, and a lot of you know Sam, and I've got a picture of the two of them together, and picture of Sam by himself. This one looks foreshortened. I think the camera does this. So I'll show you what this picture looks like. Hang on with me a second. But these boys Sam came over to try on a costume. And then, of course, Flynn said, do you think Sam would be all right if I came along to festival with him? Sam's going to festival next week. I said, well, ask him. I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem with that. And Sam's like, yeah, let's do it. And so the brothers are going out together to the festival this next weekend. And so Sam came out to borrow some of my costume stuff. And that's why we were looking for my boots this week that we couldn't find. But I got this picture of the two of them standing together because then we had to find something for Flynn to wear. Well, we've got the old costume tubs, all kinds of stuff. And so we found an old doublet that's at least 20 years old for Flynn to wear. And I'm going to save this so I can show it to you. And the boots, we were talking about the boots. And this is what they look like. Let me get this saved in the right format so I can actually bring it into the broadcast. Saved, yes. Now let's go over here. I'm going to import it here. Now, this is the way they made my boots, the ones that were missing, was I bought a pair of boots and Dave cut them all the way down and put new uppers on them. And Sam and Flynn. Here we go. It's loading. Hey, Roger Rabbit. Have a good day, you guys. You're going to get outside and play before the rain. Yeah, it's got really dark here. We got rain coming through, too. That's amazing.
I put beads in my hair. It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So pretty.
I'm uploading one picture of Sam and Flynn, and I'm going to leave you guys on this today as our parting shot. There you go. There is Sam in one of my old costumes from the festival. It's a leather coat doublet. It's made satin lined, and it's got the trim on it, and just a glorious coat. And those are the boots that went missing. And he's got those in the garter, the red garter we were talking about. And then Flynn, you don't want to spend $200 making him a pair of fine boots because he's going to grow out of them. And so we went to the thrift store and found those boots. Those are women's winter boots, almost flat heel, a really shallow heel on them. So you can walk around in them all day. So there it is. So that's how those two looked yesterday afternoon as we were putting all this together. And so they're both fully outfitted and are ready to go. So there it is. There's my boys. And on that note, oh, Rainey's coming down the steps. We may have Rainey come in and just say hi real quick since I'm going to sign off. Here's my beautiful wife. There she is. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I've been up since like 8:59.
And you didn't come down?
No, you start talking to everybody else. No, I don't want to sit down here.
Well, then you
that
can
sounds
talk
really
to
bad.
us all.
That sounds really bad. I don't mind everybody else talking, but I hate just sitting and doing nothing.
Well, you should become part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
There's Andrea is here. So
Hello.
it's good to see you.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah.
You're pretty.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Sure. So that's it, folks. I'm going to wrap it up here. We've got an hour and a half. And we're going to wrap things up and get on with our day. I hope you get on with your day, too. And I'll throw this photo up one more time. There is Flynn and Sam from yesterday. And then this one. I love this one of Flynn. It's my favorite photo from yesterday. I'm going to have that blown up, enlarged, and framed, I think. So I really like that picture of him. He doesn't look just 12 having gone on 13, does he? He looks pretty good there. So now, hey, Elderberry, just got here. Unless you've been listening all morning, it's time for us to go. So Vikings are pussies, he says. Very nice. So are you talking about our football team here, or are you talking about Vikings in general? So there you go. Here's my boys. We'll go out on that. So thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for showing up. Very informal day, Sunday. And we'll see you tomorrow night, all week, 9 p.m. Central Standard with the Intrepid radio program, Monday through Friday. You guys, you know what? You all have a very good rest of your day, a good Sunday, and live long and prosper. Where's my screen? Live long and prosper. We'll see you later.